Hey friends, I'm Rupali. Welcomes you to Inner Wisdom. I have a guest for you today. She is Kavita. Kavita is a serial entrepreneur and certified life coach, certified hypnotist. She holds a master's degree in education from the University of Toronto and a bachelor's degree in psychology from University of Houston. She has done many of courses to improve her skills. Kavita's passion is to empower individuals to live their life purpose, distress, and connect. She helps individuals live a purposeful life and empowers them to move past stress and overwhelm so that they can live a life of ease and flow moving towards fulfilling their dreams, desire, and goals. Let's welcome Kavita. So,
Thank
Kavita, we
you.
have many questions for you today.
Okay. Yeah.
When you are having successful entrepreneurship, why you came to this coaching thing?
As an entrepreneur, I was from the outside when people would look at my life, they would say, "Oh, she has a perfect life. I mean, she has a business, she has a family, she has a house, everything. What else could she want, right?" There was still this thing inside me that I was knew that I wasn't fulfilling what I was meant to do here in this world. And so I've had an interest in helping people since I can't remember, even middle school, right? Interested in dreams, process our subconscious thoughts, and all these things. I did a project in middle school on that. So I finally decided to just say, you know what? Life's too short. I'm going to pursue my passion and do this because if I don't, I know I'm going to regret it, right? So, yeah, so that's how it got.
So tell me about your own stressful situation, which brought you into this. Let's share
I know,
something.
stressful situation. I like many of us, I was balancing many things and still am. I just now have used the knowledge that I've learned over the years to create more of a work-life balance. Okay. I got to a point where I was having pain in my body as a symptom of the stress, right? Because I just kept doing for others, doing for my kids, trying to do everything perfectly because that's how I knew to be, right? Make sure I do everything and cook the best foods for my kids. Make sure I'm there for my husband. Make sure, oh, he wants to host a party. Let me do that. Whatever everybody needed, I was there to help them. And then my needs, I was not taking care of myself. And then slowly my body started having health issues. So I had to make decisions about letting go. I had a jewelry business, and I started getting pain in my wrists and my hands, and I was making jewelry, and I couldn't make the jewelry, right? So yeah, because it was hurting too much, and it was making my pain worse, and so it was kind of like it was the kind of last straw in my life, right? Because I said, okay, well, working all the time. As soon as my kids are from school, I'm working with them. In between, I'm doing work. When they go to sleep, I'm working. In the morning, I'm working, all the time. And what was I getting at the end, right? What is the end result of your life? Everybody wants to be happy. Everybody wants to feel fulfilled. Everybody wants to be appreciated, right? And so going in that direction was not going to help any of that happen, right? So I met with another coach. So I met with a coach, right? I went to one of her workshops. She was doing a vision board workshop, and she said, and I was cutting out pictures, and she was teaching us how to do it correctly. And she noticed that I was kind of confused as to what to put on my board, right? And she told me this, that if you don't have a vision of where you want to go, how are you going to get there, right? And so she said, would you like to try a coaching session or talk to me about coaching? And I looked at her and I said, you know what? Let's do that. So I worked with her. She's an NLP coach. I worked with her for a few months, and with her guidance and help, I figured out that I wanted to do either become a counselor or be a coach.
So that was your inspiration.
That was my inspiration, yeah. And then I said, well, she can do it, I can do it. And she was very encouraging of me. She, was very supportive. She's still supportive. So
I hear the pain of being a female. Like, we all have female energy. So we are all about giving and giving.
Giving and giving, yes.
So that's making us crazy.
It is. And part of female energy is receiving, and we forget that part.
We forget
okay?
that part.
We're only giving, 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 and our society tells us that's our role, right?
Can you explain more about on female energy? How the female think about the family and themselves? Would you like to explain that?
Yeah, so females, even in our Indian culture, in the American culture, the overall culture that we're surrounded with tells us that the female's role is to serve, right? Serve the husband, yes, serve the kids, and to be the supporting role for everybody. In that, they forget that a female has her own purpose, her own goals, her own dreams, and why should that be less important than her children's goals, children's dreams? We were all children once, right? We all had dreams and goals. Why is that less important because of our gender?
That's true. I totally agree with you. So tell me more about how you get into hypnosis then and regression.
Yeah, so hypnosis is something I was interested in even in high school. I read a book, Brian Weiss's book, Many Lives, Many Masters, that famous book. Yeah. And I put away those interests because, as a child of an immigrant family, that kind of work is not recognized as real work, right? It's like you either become, certain professions are accepted, and being a hypnotist, hypnotherapist, all that is not an accepted profession, right? So I put aside that interest. And then almost 2 years ago, I met someone that teaches people how to do regression work, and there aren't that many people that do that, right? And I actually did some sessions with her, and she's training, and so I said, you know what, I really want to do that. I wanted to do this for a long time, and so I did it. And her program was intense because it took a year. I mean, it's been almost a year that the whole thing, because you do the course and then you have to, in between, do hours of practice.
That's true.
So it takes a lot of time, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So lots of hours of practice to be able to be certified through her, right? Some people, you can do a weekend workshop. It really depends what your background is and what you want to do. I really wanted to learn a bunch of different techniques so that I would be able to help different people. Right.
Like, what is your focus? Is stress or something else? And if it is stress, so what kind of a stress, or how do you say that it is a stress?
So most of the time, people get to a point of where they have something big happen, right? So we're under stress all the time, all of us. Stress is a normal part of life.
Yep.
It's when the stress level becomes so high that our functioning is affected. Yeah, so we don't eliminate stress because that's not realistic, right?
Okay.
So I help people first, their subconscious mind. What causes stress is what we think about what's happening. Okay, so we can be going from one thing to one thing in a day. It doesn't have to be stressful. It's how you think about it. If you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. Oh my gosh, I have so many things to do. How am I going to fit all this stuff? And I'm going to be late. And that's stress, right? You could be going and doing the same things and be like, oh, and thinking about, all the great things you're going to do this evening. You can be excited about your next appointment. You can be listening to nice music in the car. You can make time to do even 1-2 minute meditations in between. And do the same exact day, right, that you're doing, and changing your perspective and using some tools to relieve stress when things happen, right? Delays, traffic, all those things are going to happen. And knowing it's okay, we're not perfect. Okay, so changing your mindset is a big part of that. And then teaching techniques, like I teach people meditation techniques that they can use in their daily life. So it's wonderful if you meditate, and I think everybody should meditate, right? Once a day, right? And they say, I don't remember who said that, if you're too busy to meditate, you meditate twice a day. And if you're, somebody said that, yeah, I can't remember who it was. I didn't come up with that. Somebody else did. And then, so that means that you need it even more. Okay. And And so just meditating for a few minutes every day is a good start. And then being able to take, maybe at lunch, take a minute or 2 minutes there. Maybe before you get in the car and drive to work if you have to commute. Maybe when you arrive at work in your parking lot, you just take those 2 minutes to do a quick meditation before you enter your work. Okay. Because, all that is stressful, driving in traffic. It's not fun first thing in the morning to have to do that. A lot of us have to do that, right? So I teach people. And then we also do talk about scheduling, right? How do you manage your schedule in a way where you're not creating overwhelm for yourself, right? So there's the mindset piece, and then there's the practical piece.
Mindset and practical.
Yeah. So you both of them. And I talk about how just having mindset is wonderful. You also have to take inspired action. You can't only take action without the mindset because the effectiveness is going to be much less, right? So having both of those.
Great insight. Can you help us to explain it? How can we change our mindset? Nowadays, if I do something, I'm like churning in my mind. I'm doing it. So how can I change my mindset?
Right. So that's where hypnosis can help.
Okay.
Creating new thoughts, writing down. You can write some Post-its and say, okay, think about it. And right now you catch yourself. Okay. So you're in the middle of rushing somewhere and your thoughts start to go. They start to churn, right? And you stop and say, wait a minute. Recognizing it is the first step, right? If you recognize this is not going to help me, worrying about getting there on time is not going to help me. So what is a different way you can look at this? Just say, okay, be grateful that I'm getting there safe, right? Look at the good things in each situation. Be grateful for what is going well that day, right? Focusing on that. And then taking what I call a 1 minute meditation. There's a video someone created called 1 Moment Meditation. The way I teach is just breathing for 2 minutes. Close your eyes and count breathing in and out. Focus on your breath, and thoughts may come, and that's okay because you're taking a few minutes to shut down some of your senses and just focus and breathe for 2 minutes.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
And how can I tackle my practical part?
So the practical part, one of the things we do that I teach people is how to schedule. Okay, making time blocks is really important. So if you are constantly going from different types of tasks, that also increases your stress. Okay. But if you have a block of time set aside, for instance, okay, this time of day is when I'm going to do my errands and housework. Okay. And this is going to be every Friday from 1 to 4, whatever. Right.
Yeah.
And so then you're not in between just doing errands in between your work and things like that and brushing. And, if I have something to do, I'm writing it on my list for Friday. And that's a block of time that I've set. So time blocks are really important because when we're switching tasks, that causes stress, and it takes us. It was one study, I think it said for every time we're interrupted, it takes us 7 minutes to get back on task.
So you mean to say multitasking is not good? Because lots of people like here on call, here on laptop, here is email, here is chatting.
Yes, multitasking, and they're showing more and more things that multitasking people think they're being more effective, and they're actually not. And it definitely increases your cortisol, which is the stress hormone. And so that is just increasing your stress. You're actually not getting more done, even though you think you are, right? So, and we're all guilty of it, right? Oh, I have to do this and I have to do this. So I'm on the phone while I'm doing something else. And, neither thing that you're doing is taking your full attention. Neither thing that you're doing is as good, being done as well as it could be. And you're taking away from an important thing of mindfulness.
Wow.
Yes, if you're present in one thing and you're not thinking about what you're going to do next and worrying about it, I think it was Eckhart Tolle that said worrying is praying for the future. Praying, something like that, praying bad for the future, right? So because the worrying about something's not going to change it. If some worry comes into your mind and you think about, okay, I'll make sure that doesn't happen, I'll deal with it, or you come up with a solution, that's effective. If you're just worrying and ruminating about something, it's not going to make it better. Really, what really drew me, in addition to my interest in hypnosis, was that a lot of our thoughts, and some people say 80%, some people say even more, of our thoughts and feelings are controlled by our subconscious mind. So we consciously know something logically is not going to help us, right? Because we're intelligent beings, right? At the same time, we continue the same behavior. And why? Why do we keep doing the same thing, even though we know it's not helping? So that's where the subconscious patterns happen. And that's to break those patterns and that energy you're sending out, we can work on that. Reprogramming, which was, I guess, a popular way to say it here, right? In Silicon Valley.
Yep, computer.
So reprogram your mind, yes.
Reprogram your mind.
Program the new code for your mind. So yeah.
Get a new software.
Yeah, new software, exactly. That's what you need to do. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yep.
So I heard that stress can also increase weight problem as well. So
yeah, so stress can increase your cortisol levels, which is your stress hormone, which also increases, you can gain water weight and weight, right? Because your body is doing all these, it's throwing all your hormones off balance. Because one hormone's off balance, everything's connected, right? And it can all go out of balance, right? They've done studies about, the effects of stress, and really they don't know the full effects because there's not enough studies on it, right? But some of them, like you said, are weight gain. There are things about, there's one study I have here that it can help, it prevents you from, physical, I talked about physical issues that I had, right? And I've noticed a connection of when I let myself, because even though I help people do this, it doesn't mean that it doesn't happen to me, right? Yep. And every time I experience it and I learn something new or use the techniques, then I can even be more confident with teaching it. So when I get that, I notice that the body aches return and certain things return, right? So it's affecting my physiology. So, and I know when I'm doing things to reduce my stress, all of a sudden I have more energy and those aches are gone. And, it's just amazing how our body is, right? So,
so if you want to be energetic, remove your stress.
Yeah, or at least try to reduce it, right?
How can it affect relationship?
Well, I mean, when you're around somebody that's stressed, you talk about energy, you just are not a nice, fun person to be around, right? You're always rushing. You're not paying attention. You're not communicating with that person effectively. You're not really listening to them. And relationships are based on communication and listening and being able to connect. How do you do that if you're not paying attention and you're not present? I was doing the interview. If you're doing this right now, and while we're talking, I'm like looking here, and I'm like, yeah. You're not going to think that I'm listening to you, right? Yeah. And most likely not.
Yes.
Because I'm kind of listening. I'm kind of looking at my phone, right? So that's not an effective.
So the other person think she or he is neglected, and they create trouble in your relationship. Yeah.
Who wants to be neglected? We all want to feel that we're appreciated.
Yes. And important.
And important, exactly.
One person's life, we are important.
One person, we matter, right? Yeah. And if that person is going to be like, and especially imagine you had a rough day, right? Because it happens. And then you come home and your spouse or a significant other is kind of almost feels like they're ignoring you, even though they're not really ignoring you. They're so wrapped up in what's going on in themselves and they're so stressed. And it really doesn't have anything to do with you. It just feels that way to you because you're talking to them and they're not present. That creates communication issues and disconnection from the partner, and then all kinds of issues come from there, right?
That's true. So is stress can be cause for insomnia?
Yes, there are studies showing stress is insomnia, and part of that has to do with your adrenals, right? So your adrenal glands. We have our fight and flight. So when we're under stress, as cavemen or cavemen and women in the past, the stress was when being chased by a tiger or something like that, right? And so we would need that. And what happens when your adrenals are activated? It sends out the hormones to increase your heart rate. You start to sweat, maybe lots of different physiological reactions, right? And before that would help us have that extra energy so that we could run away and be safe. Our stress most of the time is not related to that. It's about time. It's about getting things done. It's about, worrying about the future and things like that. And there's nowhere to run, right, to stop the stress. So, but our body's reaction is the same. From your adrenal glands, that is the fight or flight response. Then how do you go down from this heightened sense to be able to go to sleep? Really difficult, right? So then people turn to medications, alcohol. I mean, a person that hasn't slept get very desperate because that's one of the forms of torture, right?
Yes,
Sleep.
it is.
Yeah, so I don't blame people for that because they just don't know what to do and they need to sleep. How are they going to function, right?
So just a word stress can cause this many things.
Many things, yes.
Many things.
Yeah.
So can you help us, show us or explain us how to meditate for removing or decreasing our stress level?
Okay, so there's a very simple way to meditate to decrease your stress, and it's breathing. Okay?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So most of the time, our breathing is here, right? It's a shallow breath, and we want the breath to go into our entire lungs, right? So that's all we're doing, and we're going to focus, close our eyes, take a deep breath, okay? So just close your eyes, take a deep breath in, and let it out. One more time, take a deep breath in, and let it out. Now breathe in, hold your breath, and then let it out. Breathe in for 1, 2, hold, 1, 2, and then let it go. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, hold, and let it out, 1, 2, 3. Breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, hold it, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one more time, breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it, breathe out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And just follow your breath. How do you feel after doing that? That was really short, right?
Yeah, but it was nice.
It was nice. So that's something that people can do in your car, or not when you're driving. When you get to where you're going, or before you start driving, right? And it's just something that's really subtle. And counting your breaths, and then after doing about 5 of them, then I just say, just follow your breath in and out. And if people are worried, that you can use your timer on your phone. There's an app called Insight Meditation Timer. It's a free app, and you can. And the reason I like it because instead of the timer on your phone, like this is how it kind of looks. When you log in, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So you go and you. The thing with that is it makes a nice sound instead of a beep. Right? Yeah. So you put the timer, and like I have 5 minutes because that was the last time I used it. 5 minutes, right? And you can pick, and then like the sound sounds like this. It gives you 10 seconds to get started. You can put 1 minute. You can put 30 seconds. You can put minutes, and so then you don't have to worry about when you're breathing. Oh my God, what time is it? Right?
Yes.
So yes.
you have a control over it. Over time, you have control.
Yeah, over time, because that's usually what people are worried about, right?
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. What does that sound? Yeah.
Yeah, it's
See?
like a meditation bowl sound.
Yeah, it's a singing bowl, meditation bowl. So it's not horrible like the buzzer on your phone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, where do you practice? Where can people contact you?
People, I work with people like this over Skype, over phone. And then I have people come to my house. I have a place in Los Gatos that I also have.
Okay.
So, yes, they can call me. Email is always best because, calling, sometimes we play phone tag for a long time. And my email is kavitalifecoach@gmail.com. So,
Wow. And
yes, thank you.
Your contact info will be down of this video. So anyone who want to contact Kavita, just click that link and just go and have meditation and hypnosis, whatever is good for you.
Yes, thank you. All right. Well, this was wonderful. I like all the questions. I'm hoping that this will help some people. So
same here. I'm also thinking like that at least we help someone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great.
Thank you, Kavita. Thank you for
All right.
coming.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Great. Bye.